Well, all right then. Wait, is this working? Okay, then. Never mind. Okay. What is going on, everybody? In this crazy place we like to call YouTube. Name J Man, or you can call me Jay, and with the man, the myth, definitely not
Crucial
a legend. Crucial.
bullets. No, just
But
crucial is fine. Okay.
wait, well, let's speak about the other half.
Yeah, it's
Too,
too edgy.
yeah. We talk about the underscore though. Okay. So
Oh
for
man.
this episode, we're, I guess, going to talk about The Last of Us Part Two. Does it
Yes.
really matter if it's Part Two or two?
No, I think actually it makes sense to call it part two. Now that I
Okay.
think about it, like I thought part two was just like some just like marketing term, or they just want to make it
Mhm.
sound unique. But it actually makes sense in the context of like Last of Us One being like, yeah, part one and
Well,
part
I
two actually.
mean, you can throw that argument into other like movies and junk,
Yeah.
though.
Well, it's just like the way even like the first Last of Us ended, right? Like when
Mm.
Ellie asks, or in that question about Joel, like, did you really do, like, did they really not find a cure? And you just took me away,
Mm.
like for you. Um, and the game ends off like that, right? In a very like ambiguous way. Like it's left
Yeah.
to us to like interpret. Part two basically answers all that,
Okay.
and it's like, yeah, that's it that way.
Whatever. So we'll call it Part Two. A
Yeah.
long explanation. I guess. Anyway,
No.
so yeah, we're gonna talk about that. It's gonna be controversial, I guess, to say the least. And to preface beforehand, this is going to be a spoiler for the game.
Yes. Turn
110%.
away. Turn if you've not played this game, just turn this off. Or any other spoiler thing that you're gonna look at, whether it be a podcast or like review or whatever, like go and play this game right now. Go play it.
Yeah. Don't be like Troy Baker and not finish the game and do a spoiler cast.
What was he thinking? I mean, he's busy. I get it. He's like a voice actor. I get
Yeah.
it. But like, oh my god.
That was funny though.
Yeah. But yeah.
Alright. So
So I guess we gotta like before we get into this, I think we gotta like talk about even before like this game even came out, what happened, right?
mm,
So for those of you that should like don't know what happened, basically the game just got like it got leaked, and we're not
well,
talking
part
like a
of it.
minor leak. We're talking about like entire parts of the game being leaked, character deaths, the ending of the game, basically being spoiled.
Oh, it was actually that bad?
Yeah, it was really that bad.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
thought it was just on one aspect 'cause that was all they talked about.
yeah,
I
and
ignored it, so I didn't know what all was leaked.
yeah. No, I got lucky except for Joel's like death. That was the only thing.
Ultimate demise.
But yeah, and it's and honestly, for those of you that are listening, and if you haven't played this game because of those leaks, people saying, "Oh, I hate how they took this story in this direction. Oh, I don't like the way this character died. That's why this game is garbage. Oh, the writing is garbage. Oh, it's Neil Druckmann catering to like feminists or LGBTQ." No, you guys don't understand. That's just the vocal minority of the internet speaking out, and it's usually the ones that have not played the game that are talking about it in
Hmm.
that way. When you play this game for yourself, I guarantee you, it's not gonna come across that way.
Hmm.
Like honestly, and I even like in that podcast with Greg Miller and Neil Druckmann, he asked the question to Neil Druckmann, who was the creative director in The Last of Us. I really wish there was an alternative reality of where the game wasn't leaked, and it sucks
Yeah.
because even Neil Druckmann talked about how they kept everything under wraps, even like the middle section where it switches over to Abby. They had to tell reviewers, okay, you can only talk about this part. That's why the reviews were so restrictive. For those of you that watch
Hmm.
reviews on The Last of Us Part Two, even before the game came out, they can only
Well,
show
that's
yeah the
hmm.
beginning of the game, and they couldn't even mention Abby like at all, and any of the characters relating to her. It was only Ellie, Joel, and Dina. That was it.
Yeah. People
But
complain that they set it up to where they couldn't have people talk about everything in reviews.
yeah, but
And people
you
also
gotta
thought
understand,
they paid them. So
like I don't know why that people like. I would rather have it that way than have everything spoiled in review because it was a really nice surprise when it did happen. especially with switching with Abby. I'm just like, oh, dude, this is so sick. We have to find out what like her perspective was leading up to the present day events. It's
But
so
no, we,
cool.
we can't have that. That's just weird.
Man, dude, it's just so. The internet's just so toxic now, man. Like it's
Oh, 100%.
so
100%.
toxic. It's
This
and
is
it
a
just
great way to start this. We
like
picked off a lot of people that are expecting us to do well.
like
Good start.
no, it's just oh man, it's just like it's so upsetting because legit like I'm not exaggerating. This is like such an amazing, beautiful game that it's so. I don't mean to sound like your 11th grade or 12th grade English teacher, but it's legitimately thought provoking. Like you play this game, I remember there'd be times like 5 hours in, I just go take a break to grab something to eat. I'm just like thinking to myself, holy, like, dude, that happened. What does that mean?
Hmm.
Like, how's that? And it's just like, and then when you find out how that connects to everything, you're like, oh my god, it's so good. And like, it's just like these little scenes that play out and they'll stick with you, right? Like the tender moments, especially like between
Hmm.
Ellie and Dina. You're just like, oh, that's so sweet, that's so cute, and it's like it feels like real people, right? The way, oh my god, that's one thing I give this game. I think this game has the best animations by far in any
Oh, it's
video
up
game.
there. It's up
That it is, wow, it's so lifelike. Even in combat sections, you think that only that animations only stick with like like the cutscenes, but when you're playing the game, just moving on about fighting people, some of this stuff is just so like for anybody that has not played a video game since like the N64 days, imagine
there.
them jumping to this and playing this and be like, oh my god, this is real life.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I mean, I've had my parents say that about other games, to where
yeah.
they'll just, look at it and be like, "Wow, that's realistic." And
Oh, yeah,
some
is it
stuff
a
where it's
movie?
just like
What
it's
movie
not
is this?
that realistic to me, at least. But that's
Yeah.
it.
No,
Goes into the aspect of kids nowadays to where they're better with the internet or whatever because they have to grow up with, friggin' DSL or whatever. Not DSL. Is it?
wait.
No.
Oh,
Uh,
ASL.
is it ASL? No. What am I thinking
Wait,
of?
are you talking about the messaging
Dial-up.
service or whatever?
Dial-up. That's what I'm thinking.
Oh, yeah, ASL. Yeah, I think it was ASL or something. Was it ASL?
Yeah, dial-up internet being as slow and
Yeah.
crap as it was, which is weird because I grew up in like the ending era of that, so I vaguely remember it.
Uh, yeah,
So,
no,
I don't know
remember
where I
it,
fit
dude.
into this world now when it comes to.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I'm
Dude,
not
actually-
even that old. What the frick?
Oh, man. But yeah,
Okay.
honestly, like
Ugh. But-
like just it just sucks because like you were saying about like how far we've come, especially with the internet and how it's easy to just like have one opinion become the opinion amongst people, even for
Oh,
anybody
yeah,
that's
it's
not
just-
played the game. Because
It's
guys,
interesting how people that are fine with stuff are the more quiet crowd, I guess.
Yeah.
When it comes to a lot of things,
yeah,
and then people treat it like the vocal minority is the majority of everything. It's like.
yeah,
It doesn't really work like that. But we're
sucks.
getting really off topic, even though it is on topic, where I just
Yeah.
don't want to go down this rabbit hole because it can lead to other crap.
yeah. I know. All we're saying is, please just play this
Hmm.
game to formulate your own opinion. That's all I'm saying. Like you shouldn't let what other people say about this game dictate how you're gonna feel about it. Especially if you were a fan of the first one. Like, do not sleep on this because I remember when I saw those leaks, I'm like, I'm not gonna buy the game now. I'm just gonna wait for Ghost of Tsushima or whatever, right? And then the
Yeah.
reviews came out, and especially from reviewers that I actually trust, I was like, oh, okay, you know what? I'm actually pretty hyped now. And thank God I went and bought this game and played it because it's in my top 5 right now. Top 5 games of all time. Like,
We've talked about it a good bit. It is a game that we both love and hate at the same time because it's a really good story, but it's also you care about the characters so much that
yeah,
you hate that they're gone. But that's the same thing with movies, other games, books.
Mhm.
Certain characters you will end up having die, and you will hate it. I had one friend who kept in mind of I forget exactly how it was phrased, but it was basically he just went through it I'm really butchering this because I can't remember it, but it was trying to deal with people normally your favorite characters whatever would die.
yeah,
He had this certain way of looking at it to where it was kind of the opposite of just seeing who lived, I guess. Even if he did have favorite characters, because eventually at certain points with shows they end up dying or something because conflict. It's story writing.
Yeah, yeah,
Look at Dickens Shakespeare. He killed off every good character he had.
yeah. But I mean, that's like also a testament to how well a character's developed and written, right? Like when a character
Mm.
dies and you legitimately feel upset about that, like I think
Yeah.
that is like a compliment in itself for you having that reaction, right? Like
Mhm.
that character in some way related to you, or they did some stuff where you're just like, oh my god, like what is it? That character's cool in this way. I like what this character does, and it's just a favorite character to you, right?
Yeah. Even if it's not like a main character or a really big character, you can have that with smaller roles. Because I've had that
Yeah,
in some stuff. Because
yeah.
there's been certain characters I've seen die, and I'm like, wow, that really ruined the show or movie or whatever for me because I really didn't care as much for the other characters. It'll end up being a smaller role.
Uh-huh.
Because honestly, it's how it felt with The Babysitter, the Netflix horror movie. That King Bach, is that how you say it?
Oh,
Say
King
his name?
Batch. Oh no, yeah, King Batch.
King
Yeah,
Batch, sorry.
yeah, yeah.
Dude, when his character died, I honestly wanted to quit watching the movie. I didn't give a rip about anybody else.
Oh man, I'm still gonna watch that.
It's a I just ruined that for you. Sorry, I thought you watched it.
No, 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 I haven't. But no, no,
It
I
it's
thought.
good in a sense of like dark comedy, I guess, or horror
Mm,
comedy ish. But I
mm,
mean, it's not my cup of tea because I'm not that big into that. But I think it's
definitely.
decent. At
Yeah.
least.
I'll check it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
But okay, since we're on that point about like character death, I think we got interested at one. Also, it's like a criticism and also a controversy that surrounds this game before and during release is Joel's death. So one of the people, like one of the main criticisms people say is just like, oh, you did such a disservice to killing that character so early on, or even a disservice to, or like you disrespected Joel by how you killed him. Like, what do you think about that?
My thing was even from the end of the first game, I figured he was gonna die. Especially when this game got announced like years back,
Mm-hmm.
I figured he was gonna die because
Mm-hmm.
it's progression.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like you go through at the end of Last of Us and expect him to live and have this happy, beautiful life. He ticked off so many people.
Uh-huh.
Why are you expecting him to live? Now, I will say I wasn't necessarily expecting him to die the way they did.
Uh-huh.
I was expecting honestly, I was expecting him to already be dead before the game started and him being flashbacks. That's
See,
what I thought.
I thought it happened at the end. I was actually surprised it happened at the beginning. Like,
Well, I mean, it made sense to be at the beginning though, because we're
yeah,
part of it. We're dealing with not like a next day, next month, next year Ellie and Joel. We're dealing with like 5 years down the line Ellie and Joel.
yeah. Uh-huh.
A lot has happened, and it shows that a lot has happened. Joel acts really differently in this game, but he acts in the way you expect him to,
Mm-hmm.
not in the way some people treat, where it's really weird or whatever. But like,
Yeah.
oh, Joel wouldn't do that or this. It's like, nah, he probably would.
Yeah.
Because going into, I guess, in similar, would be when you run in. Actually, do we want to talk about that?
Which one? Oh, Abby?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Talk about it. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Fine. Yeah, yeah.
So when you end up running into Abby, or Joel runs into Abby, I know it was talked about in the spoiler cast that, oh, Joel wouldn't act like that to save her. Joel and Tommy wouldn't do that and all this. I'm like, nope, they probably would.
Yeah.
Because they're a part of this community that's helping each other, not,
Yeah.
trying to keep people out type of thing and isolate like some Walking Dead type of crap.
And
I'm
I
throwing
want to add
shade
on
into
to that
that.
real quick because the people that said, "Oh," so one of them, I remember the main criticism with that was like, "Oh, okay, so when Abby takes them back to the mansion where her group is waiting, right?"
Mhm.
And Joel does it. No, sorry, Tommy does the intro. It's like, "Hey, my name is Tommy. This is my brother." And then Joel's like, "My name is Joel." People are like, "Oh, that's so stupid. You're just giving away your identity." But the thing is, people need to understand there's so much context surrounding that in the sense that it's been 5 years. Joel has been living in that community. There's a sense of safety and familiarity, right? And
Mhm.
even the logs. I remember there was like a interactable environment when you're playing as Ellie, where you go through like the outpost style, the logs, and it says like, okay, on this day we cleared out this many clickers. On this day we ran to a group of
Oh
infected
yeah,
or
it's them
whatever.
putting their
And
names
one
up.
and like I think three of those logs, it said like how Joel and Tommy would bring back survivors to the community. So for
Hmm.
Joel, this was just a survivor that was just looking for help.
Yeah, because
So
thought that he was rescuing Abby from a horde of infected. It wasn't
mhm,
like he just
like a
ran
hunter.
into her and then, bam, it happened. It was a savior thing.
Mm. And I think it really does work so well with this game because that is the Last of Us universe, right? They don't
Hmm.
care who you are. You could be an angel of a person. You could save children. You could have saved like I don't know. You could be like the best person out there in this world. But unfortunately, this world doesn't care. They'll
Yeah.
you die in whatever way
See,
it
this
happens,
is
right?
where what was also talked about was the fact that people are like, "Nah, we'd all come together in apocalypse scenario and all this
No.
because we." In some ways, we have because this was also addressed in the spoiler cast. Is in some ways we have like hurricanes, whatever, a bunch of this
Yeah.
other stuff. We have, but in an apocalypse scenario where it is full on fend for yourself type of thing, not really. Because at that point, why aren't you wanting Walking Dead to end?
Yeah.
Why aren't you wanting Snowpiercer to end? Why aren't you wanting all these other apocalyptic shows, movies, games to end when they all have factions? You didn't complain then, but then when it's a game that got stuff leaked, oh, that's a problem now. Like, you can't be that way about it.
Yeah, and I'm surprised that was a criticism was the whole so people said the game is too dark, which I'm not gonna lie,
Clearly.
it is dark. There are some scenes where you're just like, oh wow,
I
like
think we've
it,
kind of moved into that era. And the reason
yeah,
why is play Modern Warfare, the campaign's the same. I think the campaign for Modern Warfare, in a sense, is darker because of what the story it's telling is
uh,
darker in more realistic aspects, I guess, because you can't do an apocalypse type of thing
uh.
now. But if you play through that campaign, you'll know what I mean. I'm not gonna talk about it, but
That wasn't
that's
even
why I
dark
was
to be
fine with it.
honest. Like if I'm being
Yeah.
honest, that game was not dark. Like
Oh
everybody
yeah,
with
you
their
felt
previews saying, "Oh,
uncomfortable at
this game is
points.
so disturbing." Like, no,
Actually, hold on. We want to. This is another controversial thing. We're fine with Modern Warfare 3 that had a whole scene to where you had to
was it Modern Warfare 2 with the gun that went going
the
down the sides?
airport scene in Modern
Yeah, oh,
Warfare
yeah, Modern Warfare
3.
2, yeah.
Oh, was that Modern Warfare 2? I thought it was
Yeah,
3.
Modern Warfare 3 was the only the truck bombing that killed the kid. But it was
Oh, I
off
had
screen
those
even.
confused then. But yeah, Modern Warfare 2, which they actually got in trouble for because something happened similar
Mhm,
prior to that, I think, around the
mhm.
time. I don't know. But see, we're fine with it there, but now it's again this game comes out and it's leaked. Again,
Mhm,
people didn't complain about certain things in the first Last of Us, which is very similar.
mhm.
They were fine with that, but then going into this one, which had stuff leaked, oh, it's a problem. Like,
Yeah,
come on.
I don't know, man. It's just internet, like toxic culture. It's just
Oh yeah, people just want to hate on the
they just
internet
want,
'cause
yeah. It's just the hate
anonymity.
wagon.
Yeah,
It's so ridiculous. But oh my
this
God.
has gone even more controversial than I thought it
Yeah.
was going
No,
to.
it's just because it just sucks because people don't want to experience this game because of what the internet says, and it's not
Yeah.
even the majority of the internet. It's just a small group of people that have nothing better to do with their time that just hate
Mm.
something that they haven't even played.
Yep.
It's just so frustrating. But anyway,
Yeah.
yeah. With what is it? Yeah, Joel's death. So especially again, yeah, there is context to that death. So for people that are saying, "Oh, it's bad writing," it doesn't make sense. It does make sense because
Hmm.
realistically, you can't be on edge all the time. Sometimes you gotta let your guard down. But unfortunately, Joel just let his guard down at the wrong time, and
Yeah.
he showed love and care, and it caused him to die. And they would go over that in the podcast with Will Druckmann, where you could
Yep.
see even in Joel's face, just like, "Oh man, this is what I get. This is what I get for caring." And I was like, "Oh, it's so true." Oh
Well, see,
man.
that's where I find it interesting that they added it in. I feel like most people. It didn't even get addressed in the podcast either. Uh, when Abby shoots Joel in the leg,
Mhm.
and then they deal with Tommy or whatever, like, I forget what they did to him, like beat him or whatever, and then go back to Joel. Joel accepted his fate at that moment. it was like, all right,
Yeah.
this is how I'm going out. That's fine. They then go from that to stopping him from bleeding out from that gunshot wound.
Mhm.
He was fine prior to that. Like, he knew that was a fate they accepted
Mhm.
or had to deal with because of his actions. You then go into the other stuff past that. That's not really Joel in a sense accepting it. It's just there's nothing he can do.
Yeah, yeah.
But he knew he was dead, so he accepted death.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I can't get over that where people are like, "Oh, Joel died in such an unethical way." I'm sorry, but again, it's the Last of Us world.
Mhm.
You don't get to have pretty deaths, even if you are a good person.
I mean, we can go to Marlene.
Especially Joel. Wait, who?
Marlene,
Sorry?
right? That her name? Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. That was.
Because, I mean, let's be real. We didn't want her to die.
Yeah. But my God, that was. But the way they handled that was
Yeah.
really well. Like.
It
You
it
just come
had to
back.
happen the way it happened because that's a part of the storytelling. Because
Yeah.
Joel's death and the way he died, Ellie had to see it. That's the whole catalyst of the story for Ellie at that point. Because, I mean, granted, she still probably would have been ticked and gone on the whole revenge spree, but it's kind of how it had to go
Mhm.
to make it more interesting. Well, I don't know if that's the right word. You know what I'm saying, though, right?
No, but it just had to give a purpose,
Yeah.
right? And I think it just kickstarts everything into like motion.
Plus, it wanted you to feel that too, not like, oh,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
walked back
Oh my
into
God.
there and, oh, Joel's dead. They wanted you to feel that you could not help him because you
Oh my
tried
God.
to help him. This is where I'm not brought it up to you, but they're at that whole scene. Actually, no, I think I did bring it up to you. But they're at that whole scene with Ellie being mad and everything, and the way part of it, the way she changes throughout that scene, because it starts off with her pleading, let him go, whatever, stop doing it,
Mhm.
to then
Mhm.
final blow, he's dead, to frick you, I'm going to kill you thing.
Yeah.
For me, throughout that, I was so mad that it was happening. I shut up completely. I was talking
Dude.
prior to that, and as soon as it happened, I shut up completely because I know that's how it would have been. I wouldn't care to talk.
That I've never had a scene, whether that be in movies or video games, where I was so upset. Like the way they did that scene, my God! Props to Neil Druckmann and whoever else like assisted with the script. Just the way they executed that scene, like I never felt that. Like when people say they're on the edge of their seat, I've never had that in my life. I'm being honest with you. I've never had the edge of my seat type of feeling. Legitimately, I was edge of my seat during that scene when Joel and Tommy walk into that room, and Joel's like, Tommy's like, yeah, we got a camp down by the river or whatever, or we have settlement down the river. You guys can come by, resupply or whatever, and head on your way. And they're like, oh yeah, that's nice of you. And then he's like, my name's Tommy, and that's my brother Joel. And then it's just, and the music just starts to like. It's not the music, but it's just
The tone
that
changes.
dread sound they
Yeah.
play. Yeah, that, and then everybody just is quiet, and they all start like circling him, and Joel's like, "Wait, so you've heard of us?" I'm like, "Oh no!"
Yeah.
And then Abby pulls out the shotgun, and just pops on his knee, dude. That, oh my God, I never had a scene like that like affect me before.
See, I feel like it's just people used to a more, I say bland, but that's not really the right term to use for this.
Mhm.
A less intense, I guess, storytelling than what that was. Because again, the whole point is for you to genuinely feel it. Where in other ones, it's you can feel it, but you're kind of done with it after the next couple of scenes. Like you may still hate it
Yeah.
that character died. I was thinking about,
Mhm.
we'll go into this for you. We'll go with like Glenn dying from Walking Dead or something. I don't know. It's the first thing that popped in my head. Like, did you care? After
Wait, hold on. I'm trying to remember. Oh yes, he died to Negan.
Yeah.
Yes, I forgot. Yeah, I cared, but I was just like,
But you don't care as much.
Yeah.
But you cared
Yeah, yeah.
so much
Yeah, it's so true.
when he died, but then was under the dumpster. Like you cared then, But then you go into that when he actually dies, you don't care as much. Like
Bro.
it's a way of storytelling.
Bro, I forgot what the dumpster. Dude.
I used to remember that
So
because I
every
remember you
single guy's-
asking me about it and all that stuff because you were like so into it.
The dumpster is the true character of The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Bro. But that does actually make sense why we care about Joel's death more than anything. Because it is the whole reason why Ellie decides to go on this journey. Why she's so obsessed with killing Abby. And why we see... Why we even get those 12 hours with Abby in the first place is because of Joel
Yeah.
dying.
And again,
And
they want
I
you
don't
to
think
feel
I've
it.
ever had like a show or movie do that before, where one person's death is the backbone of everything that occurs in that journey.
I mean, there's been other
That
stuff
is pretty
in that
interesting.
sense because the one thing that pops in my head is Wyatt Earp. If you know any of that story,
Wait, what's it called?
Wyatt Earp, I believe. The whole point is
No, I've
like
never
his
heard of it.
brother ends up dying, or his brothers.
Mhm.
So then he goes basically on this whole. It's termed a revenge spree, basically, but it's kind of up in the air because he was a sheriff or marshal or whatever at the time. But it goes through to where he is tracking down the people that end up killing his brothers. So it's in a sense of that, which is a real life story. It's you feeling that same thing. Like I know I'm constantly reiterating the same point, but it's because that's what they want you to feel and everything with it.
And props to them,
Yeah.
honestly. Like, it's ballsy to do that.
It's hard to do.
Like, even... Yeah, it is hard because you can do it in such a distasteful way, too, right? Where it's just like, alright, we just kill just to, like, shock you.
Yeah.
But, unlike any of those other forms, whether it be television or movies where you just kill a favorite character, just to give an additional driving force to the story, it is the entirety of the driving force.
Yeah, especially when it's a character that you played as throughout the whole first game.
Yeah.
Because think about it in like Halo, if they killed Master Chief and it was like, alright, you got locked now, wouldn't have the
Yeah.
same effect. Like, people would straight up hate it.
Yeah.
But this is different.
Yeah. Mhm.
Because you also
Yeah.
got the side of Ellie and you cared about Ellie, going through the first game.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. So with Joel's death, I think we can also talk about like the main thing. I guess okay. The whole game, in terms of whether you love it or just like it or even hate it, I can see people not liking this game at all, is because of Abby.
oh yeah.
This whole game relies on you to empathize with Abby. And what are your thoughts on that? Just Abby, I guess, in general.
It was a weird thing, but I liked it because it gave more context to certain actions. 'Cause you think about it with anything in this, because again, you wanted that revenge spree, essentially. Or, well, you wanted revenge, you didn't really want the spree out of it. But in a sense, there's got to be casualties because people have friends. So,
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting because when you go through Abby's perspective, you actually learn about these people, and you're like, well, frick. They're dead.
I honestly think it was worth it. I know some people are like, have you ever seen those like Twitch? I don't know. Now they do like compilations of Abby dying, and it's just like, you ever seen that Twitch stream? I don't know. There was one guy who was just like legit just taking Abby and jumping her off the cliff over and over again. I was trying to break the record. I'm just like, what the hell? But honestly, Abby's thing gives so much context, and it's so. I remember when I switched over. See, I think I had some idea that we were gonna play Abby because I knew one of the leaks because I was listening to one YouTube video about the leaks, and they were like doing it in a non-spoilery way, and they talked about how there's something that happens in the middle that switches up the whole game, and
Oh,
majority
that.
will not like it.
Yeah, that was what you
And I was like, oh man, did we get the players there? I was just thinking, right?
Hmm.
And then when it switches over, I'm like, oh my god, we're gonna play as her. Because when it says day one, Seattle day one, I'm like, oh my god, we're gonna play as her until like whatever day 4 or whatever. But honestly, it was so cool because it shows such a realistic depiction of what would actually happen in terms of the consequences of what Joel did. and how it affected somebody that would actually take it in their hands to exact revenge and how they would go about it. And I actually loved Abby, to be
Yeah.
honest. Like, I liked her character a lot.
See, this
It
is
gave a lot of content.
it's again people wanting to ignore her story completely because she's the antagonist.
Yeah, like, for some people, because she killed Joel, she's immediately,
Yeah.
like, irredeemable.
But if you
Well-
actually pay attention and go through her story, you end up going through it and you're like, frick, you don't know who to root for anymore. Because you realize both are right,
Yeah.
but both are wrong.
Especially when it gets to that, like, that theater scene.
Hmm.
When Abby, so, when Ellie kills basically her best friends and she finds the map where Ellie and Dina are hiding out,
And Jesse.
She goes
don't,
there,
don't forget
and
that.
they have that fist fight. Oh my god, the feeling I had where I was like, Abby, I know how you feel, but please don't do this.
Bro, I genuinely thought
can
that
you
was
punch
the
her
end of the game.
lightly, please? Can you punch her lightly? I was like, I was delicately tapping square just to hope like the animation would do like a soft punch or something. But oh my god, that whole scene, you feel so discomfort. Like it's like a discomforting feeling. Like, you feel like
I genuinely
fuck.
thought that was the end of the game. Like, you were going to go through
Yeah, I
that.
thought she was good.
That was the end of the game. Ellie dies, and you're like, at that point, yes,
Yeah.
I would hate Abby no matter what, even though I was on side. But it's like you killed two characters that you love. One was already bad enough. You killed the other one. It's like, nah.
Man.
Which I feel like
Yeah,
I
that
gotta
would've been hard,
preface
I'm
this
not gonna lie.
or say this, I guess. Yeah, I was wrong about Jesse. Learned that real
I know.
quick.
Yeah, Jesse antagonist.
Bro,
Nope.
no, it's because like if you really go through it, the way he shows up in like the middle of the story,
Yeah, it was pretty sudden.
it's so random. You're like, there has to be more to this. And then, bam, he runs to the door in the theater. Pop, he dead, and you're like, well, never mind.
Yeah.
I don't know. I will say
But
that
in
that
that-
is one problem that I have with the game. I wish that they
Mm.
did something better for that because his showing up is really weird.
Yeah, I kind of just there should have been a little bit more development for him because he had no reason to really go after. I guess
I was
well,
hoping
actually,
he
you know what it
would.
was?
I would because my thing was I was fine with it being Ellie and Dina, but I was like I want a third person. Although typically it's not how
Yeah.
it goes, but I want a third person because more people to watch your back. And I still want it to be a small group
Yeah.
too. But you don't have Tommy, so it's like the only other character that you really know and are friends with at the beginning is Jesse. So why not?
Uh-huh. Yeah, but I think they do hint at it in like some collectible or something, or like a diary, in Ellie's diary where like they were kids or something, and they talked about some memories of like how they were just hanging out as kids and they were like growing up together. But I kind of wish they really did drive home that point that they were all best friends or something, and that way it would make sense for Jesse to show up.
Well, I mean, it does
it doesn't-
show at the beginning that they are friends. It only shows
Uh-huh.
basically these three characters. So you don't see
Yeah.
her really or Ellie really interacting with
Yeah.
anybody else besides Dina and Jesse. So
Yeah.
you get the idea.
Because now that I think about it, like I didn't think about that, but now that I actually think about it, if you did take out Jesse from this story, besides the beginning, before they all head to Seattle, like Ellie and Dina, it would not have impacted the story.
No, not at
To
all.
be honest, in a way.
Because even when
Like-
you go towards him going after Tommy, I think the only way it kind
Yeah.
of works is the whole ordeal between do you save Tommy or do you go after Abby? Like that whole ordeal in the marina. or
Yeah,
what?
yeah,
Well, it was the marina, right?
yeah,
That was what the look.
yeah. Because
Yeah.
Ellie was getting close, and
Because you had the decision
Yeah,
of going for the
right.
boat. Well, you didn't have a decision, but it was brought up at that point of Sniper shooting at them, and you're like, okay, that's Tommy because you've been trying to follow Tommy's footsteps throughout the whole thing.
oh
Or the
yeah,
boat.
true.
And Ellie chooses the boat instead of Tommy. That's the only time where he matters outside of the beginning, really.
Yeah.
But he doesn't matter that
Yeah.
much.
Yeah,
immediately
He's not
after.
like a crap character or anything by any means. It's just that
They could have done a
I
little
don't know.
bit more with
It's
him.
hard to explain. Yeah, they could just done more
Yeah.
with him. Nothing. It was nothing like bad, but it was nothing like
Yeah.
amazing.
But he had to be amazing
Yeah.
because he was definitely a full on side character or small role
Yeah.
type character.
But I think it does add to at least the development of anything because
Mhm.
it's because of Ellie that he didn't get to see his unborn child, right?
Well,
He
I mean, in his defense,
is
he didn't really know if Dina was still gonna have the kid.
yeah. But you see, yeah, that is true. Wait, did he know that Dean was?
Yeah,
He
he
did.
found out, but he wait. Did Ellie tell him, or did he already know prior to that?
No, he
Oh,
found
okay,
out.
that's what. Yeah.
Yeah. And, but yeah, for Abby especially, the, I already liked her in the beginning, kind of because not in the beginning, but the part where like her dad dies and you find out it was Joel. It's like, oh man, I totally get that. And she killed, and especially under the assumption that the Fireflies were her family.
Mhm.
Joel killed a bunch of her family in a way. Like, oh man, I totally get that. But the one part that really got me was when she decides to help out Yara and Lev.
Yeah.
There's the whole time thinking, man, this is like Joel and Ellie, you know.
See,
And like she's taking Lev through the sky bridge and stuff. I'm like, oh my god, I totally get you now. I totally get this character.
that's the only other thing that got wanted a bit more context or a little bit more story in, because it makes sense because they do prior to that, especially if you get some of the collectibles. She's very screw the scars or Seraphites, whatever. And it's like frick them because all this, that, whatever. They're constantly fighting and basically warring over land. But
Uh,
I feel like the change to her immediately going and like, all right, I'm with you, Yar and Lev was a bit too quick because I know it starts off with basically, okay, I did it because you saved me, so it should be like you get this one free pass. But then,
Yeah.
like immediately after that goes into like, you know what, we're chill. I feel like it was just too quick. There needed to be a little bit more there, in my opinion.
yeah, that's true. Yeah. But yeah, it's just yeah, I do agree they could have like I guess like simmered it in a way.
Mhm.
Could have had more time there. But overall, I think it's just whatever time I had with Abby, I just came to grew. It just grew on me, especially the hospital thing.
Uh-huh.
Like her fears are my fears at that point. Oh my god, that hospital scene, dude! I feel like I was playing Resident Evil.
Oh, 100%.
Oh my god,
100%.
holy! Okay, we need a hospital like DLC in the sense like they should do a DLC surrounding like the initial outbreak. That would be so.
Well, you could
I
do
think.
could just end up being its own game in general. I guess if you wanted to just do it. I don't know if people would care for it as much because you have to build a whole new
Like-
set of characters, and it's kind of
Yeah,
it's a weird thing to do now. I feel like, especially after the first game and this one.
yeah. No, see, how do I say this? See, yeah, that was one thing I wanted to ask you for the next game because I feel like this game deserves a sequel more than the first game. The first game in a way could have just been like
That one and done.
his own.
Yeah.
It's one and done. But now this game, I actually want to know. Okay, is Abby gonna find the Fireflies? Is Ellie actually
Well,
gonna go bring her?
That's what I was talking about in the
Immunity for-
spoiler cast with the change of menu screen or whatever. Yeah, I guess menu screen where it changes to different ship. It kind of
Yeah.
implies she made it. Is what they talked about. I don't know
Oh,
if it
to
was
the
full on
Firefly
like
base?
yeah. I don't know if it was confirmed, but that was kind of the idea. Because I don't think Neil Druckmann confirmed that.
Yeah. But yeah. What was I gonna say?
Man,
Yeah, that that hospital scene, dude. That rat. Oh my god. I was kind of hoping we'd get. Okay, so we got the Shamblers and the Rat King, two new infected, and
fuck Shambush.
I do like the idea that how they kind of imply like in certain locations there's going to be different breeds of infected. Because the reason why they have the Shambler is because it rains so much in Seattle.
Mhm.
I kind of hope like they show other areas, especially
Well,
like I don't know Las Vegas or something. That would be
See,
pretty cool. Las Vegas.
this is where I was kind of leaning towards because I know we've talked about it a little bit. For the next game would be either you continue. My thought process is you either continue it and go with Abby's story, or basically a whole new story. You're going with completely new characters in a different part of, I would say the world really, because you don't necessarily have to United States, but
Mhm.
just anywhere. Because it'll make it interesting because then you can add, like say it was, Europe or Asia, Africa, any other country besides North America basically, or continent I guess. Completely new zombies, like ones you would not see anywhere else.
Yeah, that it'd be so cool in a
Hmm.
way. Because when what I like about this is when they do introduce a new infected, it is so cool. Like they give it the proper introduction. Even the Shamblers, I was like, ugh, like it's so disgusting. Like their look and everything, and what they do, like they just pour acid on people, like when they explode. Like it's you've seen it before with boomers and stuff, like in Left 4 Dead,
Hmm.
whatever
But
games.
this is just a
How like boomer
constantly
has.
doing it thing instead of like it blew
Yeah,
up.
but like just the way they introed it and the design of it is just so unique. And the Rat King, oh my god! Basically, the Rat King, I don't know if you know this, J-Man, is the huge hospital monster.
Oh,
Basically, yeah. So that's the actual name of it. Um, but the way they showed, like, it makes sense too. That's what I like about it. When they do introduce it, it makes total sense. It's not that they're
wait,
introducing
hold
it just
up.
for the
Wasn't
sake of
that the name of the no? Because now I'm just thinking of the Mal Sherlock Holmes Disney movie. I don't know
No,
if you've
I
seen
think
it,
it was.
but the villain
Oh,
from
where they had
that
their
was it
tails in
Rat King
unison?
or no?
I don't know.
Oh, sorry, my ADD's acting up on that. I just you said that now it's me. Which I mean, Grant, we could also throw Destiny 2 into this, but we ain't gonna do
Yeah.
that. Anyway, sorry, random
Yeah.
tangent.
No worries. Yeah, but especially when they introduce the Rat King, it makes sense because that is the initial outbreak
Mhm.
point. So because the infection is taking over their bodies for so long, it makes sense that they mutate to that degree where they basically join up and they create
Well, they've all
this huge
been
beast.
and since or not and since they've all been stuck in one area. So
Yeah,
yeah, I guess then some weird Darwinism type of thing involved into that.
yeah, it's so cool. Oh,
I
dude, my heart was racing that whole that fight. Oh my god.
Dude,
It's-
I know I would have hated it, but I kind of wish it was this way. Was you had more parts of it come off basically, but it's also
Yeah,
weird because
yeah, and
the
also-
way they did
that's
it
true,
was
yeah.
just to progress
Uh-huh.
that scene, kind of. I wish they did that
So
a
you can
little
find
bit
the
differently.
exit point.
Yeah, I don't know. I wish they did that a little bit differently looking back at it or back on it. I wish that they
Yeah.
did that differently because it was just a very. There's no point in this outside of after this fight. It
Yeah.
kind of ruins it if you look back on it. But at the time, dude,
Yeah.
you see that and you're like, oh my gosh, this fight
Dude,
will
when
never
Oh,
end.
the detail and like everything when it rips off the host infected, I guess. Oh
Hmm.
my god. See, I thought it would turn to like one regular infected rips off, one clicker rips off,
Same.
one loader rips off. But wait, can you kill that first infected or not? Because the one that rips off.
No,
Because I swear, I tried.
I know
it
I
was so
tried
hard
to kill it.
kill.
I don't think you can
Oh,
because
okay.
you need it
So hard.
for the next part. So I don't think it's possible.
Because I didn't have any melee weapons on me, so I was like, okay, maybe.
Yeah.
And I tried using my fist, but I couldn't even do
Oh no, I just shot the crap out of it. Or I shot it a couple of times now,
Yeah.
but I ain't really hit it with anything that powerful. I think I shot with like the pistol or something.
Oh,
Because I treat it like the stalkers, because that's what I
Mhm.
thought it was.
man. Good fight. Though.
Yeah.
Well, that reminds me of like, I don't know, you just mentioned shooting. But man, the gameplay. Okay, people will say the gameplay hasn't improved from the first Last of Us. I don't know. You probably dropped on the head as a baby. I'm sorry, but they actually improved this so drastically. It feels like I'm playing Metal Gear, like Solid 5, like the prone and stuff. The AI is really good in this, and oh my god, the guns, the sound effects,
Mm.
so
Well,
crisp.
I feel like
so
mechanically, there's not much you could really do without making it kind of a new
Yeah.
game. So,
Well, mine are.
which I'll admit, honestly, I think this game, because I remember watching the first game, the multiplayer for it.
Mhm.
I always felt like it worked way better for multiplayer. Right? Like, without playing it, it looked like it. So, I can't give that much of an opinion, I guess. But then, well, I don't know. Because then again, Uncharted sucked, and that was semi.
I think it was fun, but just as a competitive type thing, or even just it's just a player-to-player connection, just really bad.
Oh, true.
I don't know why you decided to do player-to-player connection. But it was still pretty fun. Not gonna lie, for what time, like, the amount of time I had with it,
Hmm.
just like using the grab, especially with just basically Uncharted. What I like about it is they take the single-player aspects and they put it in multiplayer. You can climb up
Hmm.
stuff, which is cool. I think
Well, I mean,
just traversing the
I
environment.
figured you would have PTSD or something after that tournament.
Oh god, dude. I don't know why this. Okay, off topic. Team deathmatch for tournaments is the most stupid.
Unless
thing
it's
to do.
Halo. Or.
Yeah, unless it's
Wait,
Halo,
does Gears do it?
because
What is Gears set?
no, Gears is King of the
King of the
Hill.
Hill, okay.
So yeah, or what is it? Execution, I think. No, but it's mostly King of
Okay.
the Hill. Mostly King of the Hill, yeah. But
But yeah,
oh
I
my
think
God.
Halo's the only one that's. Yeah, I think Halo's the only one that's done it right out of like at least big esports.
Yeah,
But yeah,
but yeah, the gameplay, yeah, man, this game, oh, just feels nice. It feels really good. The gun sound effects, oh my god, it's just so.
oh,
When people say the word visceral, they don't use it like in an
Hmm.
exaggerative sense in this game. It actually makes sense because the way bullets ricochet, the way when Ellie shoots the gun, the recoil, the way it happens, the way when she takes her hammer and it's the last hit that she can use from the hammer, and the hammer gets lodged in the enemy's head. Like, oh my god, it is so detailed for like a third-person combat game. Oh my
the
God.
only thing I'm going to complain about, because I have complained about this to you.
Mhm.
Well, one, I don't know if this is a controller thing or what, but definitely playing
Mhm.
wired works better for some of this. Instead of you like not having your controller plugged in. Ellie using a bow and Ellie using the Degum rifle are atrocious. The bow does not
See,
work
I had the
properly.
rifle problem. I had it in the beginning, but I don't know what happened. I guess when I plugged in my controller, I don't know. But now my shots are coming in. The bow is just
it works better if it's plugged in. That's the thing.
yeah,
But you don't have those problems with Abby at all. That's what bothers me.
yeah.
But the bow with Ellie, even plugged in, it is very finicky. Those are my only
Yeah.
complaints. Like
Yeah.
shooting.
I was
while
kind of
you're-
hoping, like I told you, they should just went the Tomb Raider route. Just make it so left trigger
Yeah,
is her pulling on
While
the bow,
drawing it.
and then right trigger is where you basically hit
Yeah.
fire. I don't know why. Wait, how does it? Even just thinking about how it works in this, it's weird. How did it work?
it's basically you will end up aiming with the left trigger, but then you have to draw and then release with the right. But it was
Oh,
very
yeah.
finicky because I think
Yeah.
the way it worked with a bow was you had to like one, you couldn't full on tell if you were full drawn at points because there's sometimes where I'm like, I think it's full drawn, but then it wouldn't seem like it would shoot. But then there would be points where I'd wait a little bit longer after it looked like it was full drawn, and it might work a bit more consistently, but still be very weird. But it seemed like you had to
Yeah,
like release the trigger immediately. You could not slow down your trigger at all, or it would not fire. It was very weird.
And I want to try to like was it the rangefinder? I gotta do another second.
I swear it doesn't work. I tried to see if that would work.
Try it.
Nothing shows up on the HUD. So I don't know how it works.
Is there something on the side of the bow?
Yeah, it adds a
Device?
thing to the bow. It'll add, it basically adds an optic, or what would be the optic where it's little pegs or whatever for your ranges. It adds that to
Oh.
the bow. But that's it. It's just a visual thing, basically. It doesn't give you a range on anybody, that I saw at least.
Huh. You know, I didn't lock it yet. I was gonna do my second playthrough.
Uh-huh.
Well, I can't wait to do my second playthrough. Oh, I'm so hyped for that. When I was playing this game, the whole time I was thinking, man, the first game looks like a total cakewalk compared to this.
Yeah, the first
Like
one
the
was
first
very...
one feels like a buddy road trip type of thing.
Well, it's a funny road
Like,
trip with nearly dying, infected,
buddy.
and all this, but
Buddy road trip type of thing. Like, yeah, like obviously, it's like like stuff went down in the first one with Henry and Sam, especially, and just like Joel's daughter like dying. But my God, this game, it's
oh
like,
yeah, oh we should talk about that for the beginning with Joel's death because there was a whole ordeal to where the differences between Joel's daughter dying and Joel dying were meant to be completely different, and they are.
okay, yeah,
So yeah,
man. Wait, Joel's not. Oh yeah.
yeah, to where it was like you're supposed
Yeah.
to feel sad and all this when it comes to Joel's daughter dying, and then with Joel you're supposed to feel
It's just-
uncomfortable
yeah.
and angry because again that's the story.
Mhm.
But, you know.
Yeah, because the whole thing is like the first game is about love and this one's about hate.
Which isn't really true.
Yeah,
According to
no,
Neil
it is
Druckmann.
true. Yeah.
Which I mean, I kind
And
of
I
agree
think-
with because you don't really. I don't know. I don't really want to go back on what we talked about before because I feel like we talked about it for so long.
Yeah.
I feel like everybody would hate us at this point if we go back.
Yeah. No, but it's just, it makes sense because this whole game basically tells you this is what happens. Okay, those people, okay, that's one thing I want to touch on, and was another criticism, was that the people that say, oh, lol, this game is all about revenge is bad. Oh, the game doesn't have to tell me that, I already know that. Okay, first of all, it's such a simplistic interpretation of the game.
Plus,
That-
these are the
it's
people
not-
that
that's-
say it's bad, but would probably still do it if something happened to somebody they cared about.
Yeah, exactly,
Like,
and it's
it's-
just trying.
You can't
It's
get
so
through
much
that.
more than that, man. I really wish people would understand. It's so much more than that. It's about the cycle of violence, right? It's how obsessive can you hate like how obsessively can you hate somebody, and is it worth taking you that far, right?
Mhm.
And it goes into those messages and it talks about it. It makes you think about that. And that's what I love so much about this game. What was that? What was I basing that point off of again?
I don't even know.
I was just so riled up. Oh my God, I hate when people say that.
Dude, I know that's
But,
where the first like half hour of this was just all about the beginning, the
Addressing
leak and all that.
prison.
Which I mean,
no, but you gotta address it because
well, we're passionate about the
Honestly-
game because we love the game.
yeah, because like honestly, like for both me and Jay, man, we played the game, and especially for me, we played the game, we loved it. Especially we were talking about it during like so many segments of the game, like, yo, what do you think about
Dude.
this? What do you think about this? And we were loving it, right? And then for me, when I finished it, I immediately went to subreddit, and everybody's just like, yo, this game is crap, man. Neil Druckmann, you're such a failure. We knew you would goof this game. I was shocked, dude. I was so shocked. Like I was like, I'm in some alternative dimension or something. This can't be the
Yeah.
case because to me, this game is amazing.
It's
I
again,
was
it's
so
people that
shocked.
haven't played it and going off the leaks.
Yeah, and it was just like,
But we're fine with the garbage Call of Duty, but that, you know, great, woo. Yeah, I'm
yeah,
gonna
dude,
trigger
I
that
don't know,
community.
People just don't want to play something like too dark. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. There's people that I don't know. It's also for those of you that have not played this, it's a very lengthy game. In a
Well,
good
I
way.
hope you've not watched this if
It-
you haven't played it.
Yeah, it's a.
Well,
very
I don't know.
lengthy
Some people really don't care about spoilers and stuff like
Yeah, I don't know how to. I don't know how to do that, man.
I'm fine with it with
Our
certain
friend Marty,
things.
you remember Marty? He's like, yo,
Oh, yeah.
I love spoilers because it makes me. I know what's gonna happen. I'm like,
Marty's one of those dudes who read like the wait, no, Spark Notes. Is that what they're called?
Spark Notes for.
Yeah, he read that, wrote a report, and then read the book. Like that's Marty.
Dude, I don't know, man. Like I have some friends that are like that too. Like I remember Avengers Endgame. He watched all the leaks that came.
Oh,
before that,
my
and he just-
sister's the same way. I
don't know.
my
how you
sister
do
will
that
literally watch the special features, all the bonus features before watching the
before
movie.
watching.
And I'm just like, you've ruined the movie.
Yeah. But I feel like even if I knew about the spoilers for this game, I feel like playing it would be like, oh man, makes sense.
I don't know.
Totally get it.
I'm in a
it's-
weird spot because I feel like with Joel's death, my opinion might have changed. Might have. I really don't know. Everything
Yeah.
else, I feel like I'd be fine with, but Joel's death because love the character.
Yeah.
It
It's
probably-
it all hinges on like how you treat Joel's death for
Yeah.
most of the players. But the way they do it, man, I've never had that where somebody does something so like despicable to somebody that you like, but you still manage to like that character at the end.
Mhm.
It's something, and especially near the end when Ellie's chasing Abby to the Santa Barbara,
Mhm.
and I'm like, oh my god, Ellie, don't do this, don't do this. You have a life waiting for you
See,
with Dina and Jada. Don't do this.
this is one of those things. I originally was thinking that they were going that route, but I will admit during that conversation with Tommy, I didn't think they were going to do it. I thought
Yeah.
it was going to end there because the reason why I figured it was going to is because it's not cliched, but it's something that you've seen in other movies and books,
Yeah.
shows, whatever. And it's to a degree you also feel that way if you were in that situation because no matter what, it's still a
Yeah.
you're mad type of thing. But I like the way they did it because well, somewhat like the way that they did it because the whole technically the ending's up for interpretation on good or bad with what's happening with Ellie, but just what they do at the end when
Yeah.
it comes to you not killing Abby.
Yeah. Like it's like I can't blame Ellie. Like I totally get why. Because she's so like it's almost like a drug addict. They said in that sportcast. With, she's like, I gotta get this revenge. I need it. I need it. And she keeps thinking like she needs it when she doesn't.
Well,
And
I treat it more
it's-
of as if you owed something to somebody.
yeah,
what's
that's true. Yeah, yeah.
There was I want to say it was a Disney Channel movie. It was basically a dude ended up going into cross country running or whatever after his friend died.
Uh-huh.
I want to say it was running or whatever, but he did it because of his friend dying. So that's how I treat it. Was you felt like you owed it to them, no matter
Yeah.
what. I didn't see it necessarily. I get the drug addict thing, and that makes sense. But I saw it the other aspect of
No.
you owe
That's
this
true.
person because of what all they
Yeah.
did for you, which also goes into what they show at the end of the movie or end of the game. Frick.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But it's so nice and it's like so beautiful in a way because she thinks she owes it to Joel to kill Abby. But
Mhm.
then at the end when she finally sees that flashback of Joel and it's like in a way it reminds her of like what Joel means to her, right?
Mhm.
Like Joel was a nobody in her life, right? And Joel managed to love her like his own daughter. And I think when when she's about to kill Abby, she's thinking, okay, I can't do this because Abby's trying to do what Lev. She's trying to do to Lev what Joel did to me.
Mhm.
Is care, right? In this like harsh world. And I was like, oh my god,
See,
so nice.
this is where I find it interesting that we have different perspectives on this. I agree with the whole Lev thing.
Mhm.
I saw the flashback. I saw the flashback as she straight up didn't need it anymore. Like it was kind of given in context again with that's it, that was all you need to do, as if being told in a way from Joel, you've done enough.
Mhm.
I didn't want you to
Yeah.
go that far. I just wanted you to, in a sense, remember all this. Which is where
Yeah.
it again sucks at the end because you're like, well, was there really a happy ending for Ellie?
Yeah. Because that's one thing I want to talk about. Actually, there's another interpretation too. Because the whole theme is like reconciliation, right?
Uh-huh.
Where you have to forgive and forget, in a way, right? Like the actions, because you can't keep going in this cycle because it never ends, right? Like the sins of the father go to the son, right? And it keeps going and going. Is that whole message, right?
Yeah. Which
And
isn't that
you know, with
the
the flashback-
whole ordeal with the scars as well? I don't
Yeah.
think it was that much.
And the flashback that happens when she's like choking Abby in the water and shows Joel the portion of snow time or whatever
Mhm.
is basically her remembering that memory of where they show it at the end of the game where Ellie goes to Joel's porch and he's drinking his coffee
Mhm.
and then Ellie tells her, okay, I really don't like what you did, right? But I want to try and forgive you. And that's what the flashback meant when she saw
Yeah.
that when she was choking Abby, and I was like, oh my god, that makes sense.
See, I guess that's kind of what my perspective was.
Yeah.
Mine was still different, but somewhat in that
Mhm.
realm. Man.
And I don't know, people got mad like, oh, well, she should. I I do agree with the criticism that they should have gave you the option to kill or don't kill
Bro,
Abby.
man, why are you ruining the one point I had hidden from you throughout all of this? I was gonna ask at the end, man.
Oh,
Dang, go. What the fuck did you do?
I no, I saw like you mentioned that. I know not the spoiler cast. Somebody mentioned on Reddit. I was thinking to myself, that'd be pretty cool because you get that a true ending or like an ending up
Yeah.
for interpretation or
Well, see,
whatever. And I
here's
feel
also where I wish they did that because then you could actually end this story. There's no making another game, continuing with the Abby, whatever, any of these characters.
yeah.
You are then done because
Uh-huh.
you can't really go, oh yeah, we're going to continue with Abby when it's like, well, let's say half the community or whatever was like, they killed Abby and the other half but didn't. So
Yeah.
You know.
That is true, yeah. Because I know because that would have definitely how do you say? It would have definitely
it would have
fed
complicated things.
into no, like it would have fed into whether or not you felt like Abby deserved to die, no matter what. Even if you saw her side of the story, or you felt Abby deserved to live because you saw her side of the story.
See,
And that would have been really cool.
it's one of those because of not having a choice. I didn't want her to die, but I was kind of indifferent in the sense of if they said, all right, she dies, I guess I was
Yeah.
fine with it. But if they said, oh, she lives, I was fine with it. I didn't want her to die, believe me, but I was kind of fine either way. But I had my own preferred choice.
Yeah.
But that's also, I feel like if they gave a choice, I don't know, it might have changed the community's opinion of or the vocal community, I guess, because
Yeah.
I think it's at that point. It's like, do these people even finish the game, or they just get to Abby's part and it's like, frick you, like,
No, a lot of people are like that. And it's especially oh my god, the streamers are the worst, man. Is I know some people just legit gave up and I'm like I'm surprised people felt that way. Because it's like we didn't play entirely different games. Like I played the first Last of Us. I got the platinum for that game. Like I did so many playthroughs. And it's not like I didn't like Joel. I was like, yo, Joel's such a cool character. I like the way he has these interactions with Ellie and how he treats her like his own daughter. So that when he died, I felt the same anger. It's not like we were all on different pages, but like in the middle point when he plays Abby, it's not like I'm so disgusted to play or anything. Not play or anything. I'm
See,
like, this is so cool.
this is where I feel like people again, if it didn't get leaked, man, because I think it changes it when you play as her before Jill's death.
See, okay, wait, hold on, sorry, I'm gonna forget. I really want to ask you this. Okay, somebody pointed this out on Reddit, right? How cool would it be if you played as Abby for the entirety of the game? Not entirety of the game, but for a majority of the game, right? And it gets to the end, or no, sorry, no, not to the end. Sorry, but you play as Abby for a good couple hours, or even like 5 hours or so, right? You learn about her, who she is, who her friends are, and stuff, right?
Was in like before
You meet up with Joel and Tommy.
where you start off. with-
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And people said, would that have been better?
See, I don't know. There's so many ways you could take this, man.
Yeah.
And it's so hard because the leaks, no matter what, would ruin it.
Yeah.
You could straight up be like, Abby is the nicest person in the world, made this one mistake, but because of those leaks, people are going to hate it no matter what.
Mhm.
It's, man, that alternate universe really sounded a lot better now.
It's so cool. But
Alright.
there's a lot of good, like, I guess we can go to that topic of potential ideas for The Last of Us future, like for future games and stuff, is like, and also we can talk about how would this game look differently in terms of like if you had to rework the plot. Like one of the ideas like I liked was how the second game should just focus on Abby and her story only, and then I think I told us at the end, you find out that Joel killed her dad, and the third game is basically that showdown. It's pretty sick as a segue, I guess, into that. But apart from that,
I don't know.
um,
Well, I don't know if people would care for it as much if it was a whole game.
yeah,
Because then you're dealing with completely different characters. I don't know. It could work. It's in a weird spot because I don't see it being a bad idea,
Mhm.
but it's just going off the hype of the first game
yeah,
is where it might not
But I don't. I definitely want to see a sequel. I don't. This is the one time where I'm just like, I read the first game. I'm like, yeah, it doesn't need a sequel. But when I got the sequel, I'm like, oh my god, I love this. Like, this is better than the first one.
Hmm.
But I definitely want to see a sequel in some way. I feel like there's still some threads to be left on.
I want new characters.
Like,
I'm gonna say this because one, it will get the sour taste out of people's mouths when it comes to this,
yeah,
and may bring people back to it, even though there's definitely people that are just gonna hate it and never be done with the
Yeah.
series anyway. But it'll help with that because it's kind of Destiny 2. Like I want Destiny 3 just to get rid of the bad things from Destiny 2.
Mm.
Kind of like that.
yeah.
But
I wouldn't
new
mind.
characters and then eventually tie that storyline to a degree. Like something later on to where you'll run into Abby or some of the Fireflies or something to where it would tie in the story enough to where you know what happened after
Mhm.
part 2 and you're fine with it. You don't necessarily have to have this whole game, whatever. You just, oh, okay, that's it. I'm chill with it.
Yeah.
I'm not wanting something like BO3 or BO2 freaking. No, BO3 is like, oh yeah, here's our tie-in. We mentioned that person's name or whatever, like some garbage crap
Yeah.
like that where it doesn't tie it.
I don't know. I do want to see more stories told in this universe, whether that be Ellie's or Abby's or whatever.
Well, I think they're done with Ellie. I think Ellie's story's done.
Yeah, in a way.
But I don't know. They could come up with something. You never know.
Yeah, like I wouldn't mind if they do like an entirely different story, because it's such a cool
Hmm.
universe. There's still so much to explore, even lore-wise, with Infected,
Yeah.
just different because they can still talk about different factions, right? Like, there's
See,
so
that's
many
the other
interesting
reason I want
things.
It'll give you so many more options of different faction, different infected, different ways of having to survive. You know, it changes things completely.
Yeah.
So.
But for now, I don't know. I'm really happy this is one of the games that ended off the PS4 generation. And, like I am. It's like this. It's the perfect swan song right now for the PlayStation 4. But yeah, I think that's all I want to talk. I'm probably gonna remember something about this game that I want to talk about.
Man, this is where it
Like,
sucks. I feel like there's
balance.
one other thing that we need to mention, and I can't think of what it is.
Like I feel like with most of the things, the way that we talk about this podcast is basically we address the criticisms
Mhm.
and we talked about why we like those games and why those criticisms aren't criticisms to us. Basically, why we
Yeah.
like for them, those are the reasons why we enjoy the game. And yeah, man, dude, I just can't wait to do another playthrough. Honestly, I have to get my copy back or just do another
Yeah.
playthrough.
Hey, I mean,
So
personally,
good.
I just can't wait for another game. But, you know, knowing, I guess, Neil Druckmann or Naughty Dog or whatever will be announced.
It's gonna be a
And-
while. Well, actually, they have the engine in place.
Well, yeah, but with
Getting-
them, it doesn't matter. It's going to be announced, and then it'll be like 5 years later after that is when we'll finally
Yeah.
get Nancy.
Because I heard they had to rewrite it a lot, which I can't blame them. It's
Yeah.
such a because they really want to make sure like this was a story that we told, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
But yeah, it's probably gonna be no. I don't think it would be 7 years or something before we hear from another game. We're probably gonna hear something within 2 years or something
Yeah.
of like this is what Naughty Dog's working on or something.
I was in a weird spot because it's one of those of. Don't really know if they would, is the thing.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I'll be hyped when I
No,
hear
not.
that.
It's probably gonna be a new IP if anything.
Yeah.
I can see them doing a new IP.
Well, yeah, I'm not talking like
Oh.
nothing from Naughty Dog, just another Last of Us game.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all I gotta say, man.
Yeah.
I think we're done here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Until the next
end for that.
podcast.
Huh.
No.
so. I guess don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because YouTube.
Favorite too.
Yeah, I'm going home. But yeah, I guess we'll see you in the next one, and have fun, and
Right.
play the game.
Peace
Enjoy it.
out.